So there are different traditions for the kinds of horns that are used, and the most common one, which is actually the Ashkenazic tradition, is a horn that comes from a ram. If this had been on the animal, this would be on the head, and this would have been the sharp point. And this is a ram's horn that's in process. So when it was, before it was cut off, there was a pointy end on it. And so that's the entire horn, and then this part gets sawed off so that then you can reveal the hole, and then the inside of the horn is hollowed out so that the sound can come out this end. There is no mouthpiece on this, so though the way that you blow a shofar is very similar to a trumpet, it's a little bit harder because there's no mouthpiece, it's just this flat hole area. So this is a traditional Ashkenazic shofar, and it is a partially finished one, so it's kind of an interesting one that you can see this part is all polished and this part is not, and that's what it would have looked like more on the head of a ram. This is another example of a ram's horn with just a little bit of a different coloring, and this one is all polished. There's no need to have it one way or the other, it's just preference. And once again, just a flat place to put your mouth and to try and get the air to come through here. Another tradition is this very long horn that comes from a kudu, and this animal also lives in Israel, and it's quite elegant when it has the horns on its head, and it would have two of these, obviously. And this is more of a Sephardic tradition to use this kind of horn. This long black one comes from an animal called an ibex, and these are also very elegant and sort of like a unicorn almost. And this one has been carved a little bit so that there's the design, it's the natural design, but it's been finished a little bit more. And it's got this long straight design, and this is preferred by some of the Yemenite communities because it reminds them of the Chatzatzrot, the silver horns that were used in the ancient temple, which had this kind of long shape. This shofar is also a Sephardic tradition where the horn is flattened on one side and then carved with little carvings to embellish it a little bit more. Also, once again, not required. It's just a way of enhancing the beauty of this particular object. And then this one is actually one of my favorites because it was made by my son and his grandfather. They did this together and finished it and polished it. And it actually has a very challenging mouthpiece on it, and so this is probably the most difficult shofar to sound, but people who are really good can make it happen. So that's a little bit about the shofar and getting ready for Rosh Hashanah.